All right, welcome everyone. I'm Steve Najar, Vice Chair for the Conservation Commission. Andy Fulton is not going to make it tonight, so I'm going to call the meeting to order at roughly 7:04. And we've got everyone else, Sherry, Mike, Ray, and Mark are all present. We have 3 agenda items that all have guests, and if everyone else is okay with it, I'd like to take Jeremy Turner first for the forestry discussion, just because he's got the furthest to drive. I'm good with that. Jer, if you want to come on up and fill us in. We've got a couple different items kind of salted down on the other that all go under this, related to the forestry discussion.
Okay, great. All right. So this is tonight's progress report for every 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jer.
So like normal, you guys can just follow along, but I'll cover the summary of work completed since the last report back in February, and we'll move along through this October's meeting. If anybody has any questions as I go, please chime in. So just to recap what's been going on for the town forestry management program, we've completed the third stage of the town forest boundary sign and painting exercise. So what that means is we've completed 30 miles of signed and painted boundary lines for the town forest. So that whole initiative over the past 3 years is complete. So we're back on really good ground for visible boundary lines that are yellow, and they're also signed with town forest boundary signs every 300 feet on interior lines and about every 100 on Class 6 roads or public highways. So
Nice.
They're in great shape. So now we're trying to move ahead on the some of the new annexations for the town forests that we'll talk about next, which include the Poor Farm annexation of the county lot, the newly acquired Hardwick lot up on Toby Hill, and then the Barden lot off 114. So those have all been reconned, and for the most part have all been blazed and signed. There are a few proposed action items down below we'll cover in a few minutes, but there's some ambiguity in the county lot, which is related to the same thing we had on Poor Farm. We'll talk about it in a minute. And then Barden lot, the Hardwick lot, the northerly line against the Chase family land. So fairly minor, but other than that, everything else is blazed and signed, and then we'll carry out the painting next year after the growing season, so the blazes will be dry and the paint will adhere nicely. And we have completed the review of the option for accessing the Eastman conservation lands via 114 through the DOT exercise, which we talked about in February, our last meeting, to just sort of bird dog that and look at that option. So that is that's viable, and we can kind of maybe talk about that on the proposed work in the next section. And then Steve, I guess the summary of work for the GIS project, I guess I didn't get briefed on that from Laura, so I'm not sure if there's anything to report there, but since our last meeting, I know she was talking to you and you were talking to her, and I guess I just hadn't been briefed on that, so.
Yeah, we'll just bring that up after you roll through this.
Okay.
I mean, it's all, that's just kind of an ongoing project.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
what I
sure.
figured, maintenance.
Yeah.
Yep.
financially
Okay.
where we're at.
Good. So, let's see, so we, I forget what month it was. Do you remember, Sherry and Mike, when we
June?
walked?
June,
When we
I think.
walked Felch?
May, late
Yeah,
May or June,
yeah, it's
early June.
Nice,
Yeah. So-
yeah.
The ticks were out.
Yeah, they were. So, so I did bring, the forestry service agreement for that project, here, as we've discussed. And as you guys know, the rollouts of these projects are quite long. So I wanted to get that forestry service agreement for that project we all walked, that Laura wrote a plan on, and start to, move through that motion on the ground and get that whole, plan implemented on the ground, and then we can tweak it internally, as we've talked about with the trail, the spirit of the trail, development and stuff, so, I do have that forestry service agreement here. I'll give it to you guys to either review tonight in process, or, however you wanna do that.
How many, oh, so there's 2 copies right here? Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, if you just wanna explain,
Mm-hmm.
in a little more detail, and we could,
Sure. Of the forestry service agreement or the project itself?
well, both.
Yeah, yeah. So the project itself is the first, planned active, forestry management motion for Felch Farm in this next planning period. And the forestry, plan we just completed, I think it was adopted by the town in May of this year. So it's going in on our second decade of our management with the town on that property. And that kind of follows up on a bunch of work we did, 12 or so years prior on this particular section of the property. And it's a harvest unit. It's about 80 acres, just to the west of the transfer station as you're going in on Merrill Road. And the commission and I walked this in June and looked over the actual, approved plan and the practices and the scope of the project from the forestry standpoint of habitat, recreation, aesthetics, biology, water resources, all those things that are incorporated into the forestry project. And, and that agreement there is our standard agreement, which, we've entered into, I don't know how many times over the last 15 years or so, but it just spells out it basically gives us the green light to start laying out the timber sale and beginning to put the sort of the architecture of the planning that's been taken care of in that document on the ground. So that gives us a green light to start that project, and then as we move through that and it gets ready and you guys are looped in on how we're doing, then we start to move it to an actual public bidding process, and then evaluate the bids of interested contractors that are in spirit with our plan there and provide the best value to complete the work from the town's standpoint. And then we award that bid, we supervise that whole project, and basically, are your ambassador, we look out for all of your interests and enforce the contract, and administer all the paperwork and the payments, and then make sure everything's compliant with the contract and then the closure. So it'll probably, it's like usually a 2-year program from start to finish, so. Does that help, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely. Just wanted to hit, some key things for the record, and then I'll hope that maybe, Commissioner will wanna make a motion for me to go ahead and sign this. So we're proposing, or you're proposing, and we're proposing as well, to conduct a harvest in stands 1 and 2, which is about 85 acres. We already walked this, so we got an idea of what's going on. And then there isn't, like, just for the public and for everyone's knowledge, there's no outlay of funding from the town or the commission, so this wouldn't be one of these deals where it's restricted to, the end of the fiscal year. All of the management costs come directly out of the stumpage income, so it's 20% of the stumpage to manage it, and then the marking is $1 a ton for pulpwood or chips, which is the low-grade stuff, and $5 per 1,000 board feet, plus the cost of materials, which is usually tree mark and paint, maybe some flagging. So, pretty standard agreement. No need to cut it off at the end of the year. We've got this one here is dated, Medicine's proposing to keep it in effect until March 31st, 2024, so that gives, plenty of time to deal with markets and weather and unforeseen events, that kind of thing. So I think it's, a fair contract, and really recommend that we move forward with it.
Do we want to make a motion to approve the contract and sign it?
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the contract and sign it.
Second.
Okay, we'll, do a vote, all in favor?
You gonna take any public input?
Sure. Sorry. Anyone wanted public input?
There was language added to the forestry.
You have to come up there.
State your name and address so Naomi knows who you are.
Bruce Fillmore, 181 Gold Road, Planning Board. There was some language added to the forestry responsibilities at this past town meeting. When it comes to management plans to include trails. Did you take that into account in this?
Yeah, you just
Yes.
mentioned
Yeah.
that, Bruce.
you?
We talked about that.
Yeah, he just mentioned it, yeah.
I was-
And at the site work. Yeah, I thought you were there. But yeah, he did.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, there's a bunch of recreational trail initiatives on this.
okay.
Yep.
And I guess that's the reason why the planning board is here,
Yeah.
is to talk about how, I guess, come up with a plan with you guys on how to get those implemented. I'm assuming that's what you're looking for input from us for, and how to,
Yeah, a little different big picture than just town forest, but
yeah, and
Yeah.
I didn't know if maybe it would be inappropriate to talk about that now, or
yeah.
not.
If you have something directly related to this proposed forest harvest, then this is a good time to mention it. But then the plan there is to finish up this discussion, then move into the joint meeting.
Okay, you're just sticking around for that, I hope?
You can, if he has time, if you'd like him to.
Yeah, I think it'd be,
Yeah, but I mean, at least my idea is not really forest-centric, but we'll get to that.
yeah, okay,
Everybody might have their own ideas on what we should be doing.
okay.
Yeah, okay, anybody else? So that will move to a vote. That might be the first actual public comment on a harvest, which is good.
Which is-
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sounds like there couldn't possibly be anybody opposed, so anyone opposed? All in favor, we have it, so I'll go ahead and sign this. So Jerry, you can keep kind of punching along here on the
Yep.
list.
Okay. Sounds good. The next progress, that's in, the next work item that's in motion right now is the Eastman Fields and the mowing. We've got a few guys lined up to give us some pricing, to actually delay mow that field, which we've talked about, past few years of doing, and different types of management, from burning to bigger machine brontoing, but I think for the time being, we should try to hit it with a good field mowing before year end, and the pollination season's just about over, so I felt it would be a good motion to try to complete before freeze up. So what I'll do there is I will get you, before the next meeting, just some numbers of what I can get for a few different people for
Okay.
mowing.
Can we ask Naomi a quick question here? So the town's purchasing requirements, what's the dollar threshold for a competitive bid?
$5,000.
So-
4,500, you have to have 3 quotes.
Okay.
It has to be over that to get
20,
quotes,
Yeah, 25 or more, yeah.
25?
2,500 or more.
25, okay,
Yes.
all right. Yep, okay. So what if it's under? It doesn't
You
ma-
have to try to get as many quotes as you can, you can't just go to one person,
Sure. Yep, but if it's over 25, you need
at least 3.
at least 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you could, just because he's already doing just that little field,
You already did it, you guys paid him.
yeah, I got Gary Wilson on Center Road, right?
Yep. Yep, I will make sure he's looped in to check it out and see if he's interested, get a price.
I mean, theoretically, the snow could end up flying here before next meeting.
Yeah,
Let's hope not.
Better for deer hunting.
so, well, I mean, even if it is, I mean, it's so dry, that field is a really well-drained site, so even if it is starting to get tight up there without snow, I mean, we've brush hogged into late December before without
Okay,
snow. Just depends on the contractor,
all right.
so, okay. Keep you posted there. Okay, so some of the motions being proposed in terms of the boundary maintenance of these newly acquired properties. So the Hardwick lot up on Toby Hill has a northerly line that we cannot find on the ground. And so it's just too ambiguous to even try to put together without conducting the next step, which we can do one of two things. We can RFP out some land surveyors to get that line found and re-monumented, which we've done that many times. Or we can approach the Chase family that this property abuts. It's about 11 acres. It's a small wood lot within the woods. And see if they're agreeable to a boundary line agreement, or maybe they're interested in, maybe it's a wood lot that they're not particularly interested in anymore, and might be something that the town could acquire. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's a northerly line that needs to be monumented, and there's a few different ways to go about it.
The boundary line agreement is illegal unless you cannot determine the boundary line by a survey.
Let's-
So a boundary line.
Craig, you gotta stand up here
Oh,
too.
I'm sorry.
Craig's a surveyor.
Good to have a surveyor here.
Hi, I'm Craig Francisco, Liza Bridge Road. Boundary line agreement is illegal unless a surveyor cannot determine where the boundary line is. And then it has to be agreed to where they think it might be. So you can't just say, here's the line.
Thanks, Craig. So it sounds like the recommendation would be to put the RFP out to survey it.
Yep, we can do
I
that.
would read into that.
Yep, good. So, all right, so that will, survey the most northerly line. It's about plus or minus 1,500 feet. And so we'll put together an RFP, and review the proposals and advise on proposal selection. just move right down, and it'd be an hourly program on our, on the scope of either the hourly forestry service agreement or within the scope of the actual boundary forestry service agreement, which has an hourly, provision, if you guys, are okay with that.
So, just so I'm confused. So you putting together the scope is under the hourly. The survey contract would be a firm fixed price from the surveyor?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep,
I would think
Yep.
that's, sounds reasonable,
yep,
like what we've done before.
yep.
Do we lump the two of them together here? And I would think that's the easiest way to go, this next one here.
Yeah, I think so. Same thing with the county lot, so the eastern parcel, which is across that wide wetland. It's the same wetland that we had, that challenging situation with the poor farm.
Yeah,
All right, and so it's the same thing, and Ron Klamarzik, who did all that work for us, we reached out to him in June, and he suggests that the easterly parcel of the county lot, it's easily identified by stones, walls, and it's physically there, but there's that same complication with that Cagliano,
yeah.
erroneous survey. So he just suggests the town petitions for a quiet title.
Yeah, and I don't know if we've got, that's one thing I didn't throw it on there for an update, but that's one of those ones hanging out there.
We're not, I don't have an update for you.
Oh, okay. So we gotta move that along through this. Remember that we were gonna get the selectmen to sign? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, Naomi, just, kind of a point of how to handle this, so that, there's gonna be this is clearly over the $5,000. Who needs to open? I mean, is it a sealed bid or just a RFP? What's
We
the,
put together an RFP to accept sealed bids.
it's a sealed bid though, it's not just, and who's opening those, us, or can Jeremy do that, or does that need to be in this meeting? Does it matter?
No, you just need to open them in a public meeting.
All right, so you need to open a public
Yeah,
meeting?
yeah.
Okay,
Typically, it would be here,
okay,
and then you'd open it and you'd announce it, or pass it around before you make an announcement. Make sure it fits your scope
okay.
before you start pronouncing numbers.
What are you saying is gonna be over 5K?
So this work is likely way over 5K.
If the town, do you not want the town to petition a quiet title? I'm not sure what that,
What's that mean?
No, I mean, so we don't have a survey on that piece.
We
We only
don't.
have a survey on the other piece.
oh, okay, on the poor farm lot.
Right. And so we haven't moved forward with the Board of Selectmen on the Poor Farm. That was one of these things that's hanging out there that needs to go back on the agenda. To get them, we discussed that they needed to sign the letter to Steve Cagliano to see if he would just come. So the first thing I believe is I don't know, we'd have to almost pull Craig up here. I don't even wanna talk about, but anyhow, so we need to get a surveyor out there and come up with a documentation for that property as well,
Oh, yep.
I believe. Yeah, that's a good question on that one. So is he saying that, I mean, for the county lot, besides the issue, are the boundaries all clearly identifiable?
It's all stone walls and it's very clear. So I can read you what his correspondence was to me directly, if that would help, concerning this county lot.
I remember this in the report, I mean, we have reports, I don't know if reading it, I think what I would do is maybe move forward with the Hardwick lot and disentangle this one and get legal advice if Laura wants to see that perambulated by a surveyor as well before moving forward. I'd hate to spend money on something we don't need to spend.
Yeah,
on.
I think that's what Ron's suggesting, just petition for quiet title. I mean, you guys, it's been owned and paid taxes on and been declared owned by,
Yeah. I don't know that we're at the point where we really have anything officially from Caggiano, except for an old survey.
no, but his point is, Mr. Wilson back in the forties, I mean, their whole family's been owning and demonstrating clearly they own this, and it's just that Attridge survey that's erroneous, suggesting something different.
Yeah, we need to get with Laura and get back with you on that one. I just wanna do this right once. Any other thoughts on that?
Do it right, get it done.
If you
Move
petitioned
forward
for
with
quiet title and got that documentation, then Jeremy could probably then able to blaze it. And he would have a legal standing at least, where now it's still
Yeah.
in,
So, you know, I'd suggest that we just move forward with the Hardwick lot.
Sure.
RFP,
Okay,
and then we would open it. When's our, next meeting?
I will send you this report that Matthias put together for me tonight, and I can send it to you so you can give it to Laura. But it's very clear, has maps and testimony from Ron, and,
She's got Ron's other, she's already got the stuff from Ron.
sure,
So, yeah, if you wanna send them on
right. This one deals directly with this,
with county.
with the county, yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
So when would we ideally, you know, either got the November or the December meeting to open
Yeah.
the RFP? I mean, can you, how long do we have to advertise it for, Naomi?
At least 10 days.
So you gotta get the thing to Naomi to advertise it,
Yep, public notice of no less than 10 days
right?
about the RFP.
So November 9th meeting? Or do you wanna push it to the December 14th meeting?
I would think, I mean, what you're trying to get is to have some type of bids to look at here.
Yeah, you'd open them, yeah?
Yeah,
I would think as busy as everybody is,
Yeah.
we should have it in December.
yeah,
Give them time
at the
to
earliest.
respond.
Yeah, I think at the earliest, because some of these guys,
Okay, so
So-
we'll have the bids due on the 14th.
December 14th.
Well, they should be due on the 13th, open the 14th, I guess.
so the sealed bids publicly are opened regardless of amount. Is that right?
Yeah, you
You
open
just have
them
to put an
all.
We
effort
open
in
'em all,
to
yeah.
get a few bids.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, so it could be $20, it could be 20 grand. There's no amount.
Right,
If it's 20 grand, then you would need the 3 bids.
Sure, yep, gotcha.
But you don't know how much it is until you open the bids. So
Right.
Oh, fair.
a sealed bid, it
Fair,
is what it
yeah.
is. When they submit the bid,
That's right.
we open them and we got what we got.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm just suspecting, and tell me if I'm wrong, but that amount of line and research is not gonna come in under 5 grand these days.
1,500 feet, probably, I don't know.
I wouldn't think so. No.
Maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right. We will put that together. Okay, moving along. So you mentioned, Steve, recently that there might be a need to look at Brookshire encroachment. And so I just wanted to get kind of the better background on that and then implement that as soon as possible.
Yeah, we authorized $500 at the last meeting just to take a swing by there, and that was the report that you did. It was an irrigation system
Yep.
and some play stuff on there.
Yep.
And then they came into a meeting after that, we just wanted to know if it got removed or not, basically.
Sure,
In your
okay.
opinion.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep, verify. Okay, can do that. The forestry agreement that's in motion right now with the Toby Hill TSI, that's scheduled to be complete before year end, so I'll update you on that, in December. Other than that, that's everything I have here.
Yeah, just the GIS project, so we, that was on the hourly, I think we had a dollar amount, I'm not sure where we're at on that, but.
25,
Yeah,
not to
so-
exceed, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, if we keep going with that on the hourly, you know, we probably need to authorize some more money. I think we need to, get that transferred and hosted on the town's website. And Naomi, you still trying to juggle that too, the town's web,
What's that?
hosting, you know, managing, are you the town webmaster or,
In my spare time, yeah.
that's painful, huh?
No, Beth and I do it, we share.
So can Laura get in touch with either you or Beth about moving, so there's this app that essentially it's like, it's a, you know, live kind of mapping app using the geographic information system data, so the townspeople can look at them, you know, whatever attributes we put on there, whether it's topography, trails, you know, whatever. And that was kind of the goal of that whole project, so if we want to keep moving along, ideally, that's the next step, is a couple updates with some of the new properties, but then also getting it, you know, findable on the town's conservation pages.
Is that, you got a link to that, or?
No, she'll have to talk to you about how to, I don't quite get the, you know, the whole loading up the files or how that's gonna mesh.
Each page has links, or there's links we can attach to them.
Yeah, I think this is more like, and again, Laura would probably talk to you, I mean, whether the whole thing gets hosted, the data, you know, on a town server.
Mhm.
That's what I think ideally would end up happening, but I'm not sure. She would need to talk to you.
Yeah,
That's-
actually, probably Laura should connect with that.
Beth,
Okay,
That would be the-
cool.
all right, I'll let her know.
So if we could, consider maybe authorizing kind of like, you know, maybe up to $2,000, maybe out of conservation, so we can avoid the whole end of year kind of problem. Just to keep moving this, 'cause I think it's really important for everybody in the town to be able to see what's there and kind of, you know, understand the lands a little bit better.
I'll motion to authorize an expense up to $2,000 for Meadowsend to continue work on the town GIS project
Second,
From conservation.
from conservation, funded from conservation.
second.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second, and any discussion, public input?
Do you have to demonstrate a budget?
The conservation account, come on up if you want, actually.
Oh, no, I'm just observing. I'm new to town.
Okay, yeah,
Just interested, but I just wanna learn how it works. So
Um,
I'm just kinda,
I'll take the question from back there, but,
I don't know I don't know the formal,
yeah, you just come on up and introduce yourself and, you know, say whatever you want to say. I mean, that's, just so everybody can see you at home.
okay. Hi, I'm Michelle.
Hi.
And I moved to Weare a couple of years before, like, right before COVID. So it's kind of like my first 6 months out. And I'm really involved in conservation. I just wanted to learn more about what was going on in the town. So
Cool.
Where do
when,
you live?
I live on Mountain School Road. So,
Nice.
yeah, and I really love the area, and so I just wanted to come and feel it out and see what was going on.
Well, there's a vacant seat on the Conservation Commission, so.
Yeah.
So your question.
I'm not a political person. I don't know if you have to be in,
You
like,
I don't think we are.
I don't think we're political.
It's an advisory committee, and, you know, most of us are interested in, you know, conservation one way or the other, and just kind of what goes on the land. And, you know, so to your question about budgets, so there are multiple sources of revenue, and we mostly operate off, not from taxpayer funds, you know, directly. We do forestry, and that money goes by state law into a town forest account. So a lot of the projects we were talking about get paid out of that. And the selectmen are the agents to expend, and the townspeople vote on that every year, but it's not raised by taxes, it's raised from forestry. So that's what, and so if a project is ongoing, we could do something called encumbering. But, you know, it is just kind of easier in this case for this GIS project where it includes conservation lands and town forests. We also have this account called the conservation account, and that's from the change tax assessment, when people take their property out of current use, is kind of more or less a penalty. And a portion of that goes to the conservation account, which we are the agents to expend. And it's a little more flexible, but, so that, you know, and there's a very small town budget that we have from year to year, just because we don't really ask for much typically. So, yeah, that's how that works.
So this money would be used to bring that GIS project to the town so that they can see what's going on? Was that what this,
Yeah, the hope is to
because
have
that's
like,
what got my attention, you know, like the town being able to learn a little bit more about some of the areas and making it, you know, accessible to
yeah, most of
the
them are
average
actually.
person.
Yeah, they're all, you know, most of the town, or I'd say a very high percentage of the town forest and town conservation lands have their own webpage. But this is more of kind of a mapping app, for lack of a better term. I mean, for the average user, there, you know, I think, and this is dependent on the interface. I mean, like the University of New Hampshire Granite, you know, the state's GIS. I mean, there's a viewer, and you can drill down and see some of the attributes and that kind of thing. And that's the idea, to bring that to the town, so that same level of functionality as
Yeah.
much as possible.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of an ongoing project.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, that it was ongoing, so that was what got
Yeah.
my attention. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks for coming up. All right, so, we had a motion and second, $2,000 out of conservation, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No, we're good. So, Jared, did we hit everything?
Yeah, except for the low-hanging fruit, which is Eastman,
Oh, yeah, all right, so,
so,
the, they're, Matthias and Jared were suggesting doing a site walk. It's gonna be, I know personally, it's kind of a timing thing. I know folks thought about that. I think it's definitely appropriate before we go creating any other accesses, and maybe even inviting PLC, where they're an easement holder, and possibly Fish and Game. I know for me, the earliest is kind of like December, when it starts to get more convenient, but I don't know about anyone else.
Yeah, I don't mind, I can go whenever.
nice. And Andy, do you know where he is with this?
No, but I mean,
Availability?
no, I'm not
walk?
sure.
Okay.
But I think, I don't know, do folks want to try to schedule that next meeting, or do we want to try to pick a date now?
Gets dark at 4:17 in December,
Yeah, it'll
The
be taking a couple
sunsets
hours
anyway.
off of work
Yeah.
to get there, yeah.
right? Daylight.
Yeah, maybe
You want
go,
to keep that in mind, that's all.
maybe going around 1 o'clock before it gets cool.
Yeah. Right?
How's the Friday, the 16th, to tentatively schedule it at 1
November,
December?
December, so it'd be after your December meeting, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
at what time?
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock?
Is that enough time?
Yeah, and where are we meeting?
Think they care if we park up at the high school, or do you want to, because you can't, you know, we could always, where can we park?
What were you looking to walk there, Jeremy? It's a large property.
Yeah, looking at the northern unit, which is very,
Up near Henniker.
What about
Yeah, it's right on the
road
town
up
line.
above the
Yep.
town hall, the high school, the next road up? Isn't there a turnaround up in there?
That's in Henniker, yeah.
yeah,
What's the name of that road?
Ruffled.
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 Yeah, yeah, you want to meet right at Ruffled?
Yeah, we can just meet at Ruffled. So December 16, 1 o'clock, Ruffled. Okay, cool.
Okay. All right. Anything from you guys?
This is the FSA. We could just
Yep, I
Send
grabbed
back
mine.
this-
You can
Oh,
keep-
that's
you
for
can
us?
keep
Okay,
that.
for us, yeah. So, we can, go ahead and move into, do we have enough, planning board members for us, to be considered a joint
We
meeting?
got three.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and enter into a joint planning board conservation commission meeting to talk about trails at, 7:45. You can all come on up to
Oh, well, we share it.
the, okay, do you?
Yeah, we do. Sorry, we're the boss, not you guys. Pass it out. And Danny Jean can be appointed as a voting member for the planning board if we need to vote. So anyway, what do you want to do? Something about trails.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I could say a few words on kind of just what I was thinking, and then everybody else can chime in. So, we've struggled, a lot of people are interested in having trails, but, we did a trail plan, and we found out that, not all of our properties are great. I mean, that they kind of don't go anywhere. There's some opportunities, but not a lot. And just, what I kind of thought was, hey, is the Conservation Commission really the right place, for over the whole entire town? And then if you start conceptually thinking of like, what is really a trail? And I've had a couple pretty good, vacation experiences in Europe where they're not, our concept of a trail and their concept of a trail is way different. It's like, you'd be on kind of like a road that's still labeled as a trail, and then it goes off into the woods and goes through, an area that's wooded and then pops back out somewhere else. So it's kind of, I just thought maybe could solve that problem of the lack of interconnectivity.
What do you mean you come off the road and you go into the woods? Is it just a,
Probably like a
A blazed-
class
a
six,
blazed
a
road?
class 6 road or an old wood road, and then they,
Oh, even a driven road, yeah. I mean, they have signs everywhere, pointing you to wherever you want to go. And, so thinking even like a mountain biker, hiker, I mean, it's not just, trails aren't specifically, there's different users,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
right.
snowmobilers, there's all kinds of people who use trails. So, what I thought is like bigger picture, and from a planning perspective, is this something that we could consider getting running it by Southern New Hampshire to kind of pull together, how do you put these things all together? Because I think just having, a 100-acre parcel with a little trail on it here, and, obviously Eastman's pretty cool because it's 600 acres, but still, we've got a railroad running up through it and a class 5 road running up through it. So how you tie the town together in the state ownerships, and there's private ownerships maybe that could all, so that'd be like a GIS exercise and, kind of calling different owners. So, yeah, that's just kind of my thought, and open it up from there.
I have some thoughts, because I have some experience with this. First, let me say, for the forestry piece, that it's great that when they're gonna go in and do a harvest, those can become the foundations for a trail system. There are access points where they're coming in and out. The only thing that, when I first encountered this back in Londonderry, it looked like devastation to my untrained eye when I went into a conservation area after a logging. And so just as an aside for a project, the forestry person that did the project then went in with what they called a York rake, raked them all, and they looked like they were trails that had been there for a while. So if after the harvest part is done, maybe that's something to think about. That's just an aside. To be perfectly honest with you, my opinion is that if folks want an active, thriving trail system in town, there needs to be a public-private partnership. There needs to be someone that says, let's get a group of like-minded people together. We're gonna maintain trails. We're gonna work with the Conservation Commission to find out where, hey, we have this harvest that was done, but there's some wetlands that are sensitive. We need to build some footbridges over that. That's what the volunteer group does. We ultimately founded a a nonprofit, a 501c, to do this in Londonderry. And then the next thing is, as you start to build off of your foundational accesses, perhaps with your harvests, then you start looking at, okay, we need supplies to build footbridges over sensitive wet areas. Well, Department of Recreation and Economic Development provides grants for those kinds of things. So the group goes out and does that. I see in a lot of different boards the same faces. I don't think it's necessarily the job of the boards to do it all alone. I think if people want the thriving trail system, they should take a look at the Weare Winter Wanderers and see what they've done for snowmobilers, and then do the work and try to put something like that together for people on foot on the ground, or trail bicycles, whatever. This is a really big opportunity for a public-private partnership for people in town to get together, support conservation, support the goals, and look at different pieces, and how do we start, as residents, start to move forward with, it's a very big project overall. How do we support conservation commission's work while getting something that we want to? And I think that means that people gotta come out and do that.
Actually, what you just said is exactly, Steve will probably remember, it's what I've been saying for the last 4 or
We've
5
discussed
Conservation
this.
Board meetings,
Yeah.
exactly what you said. It has to be a private, a volunteer effort. People have to know about it. The biggest stumbling block we've had is who gets it started and who manages it. Like the Weare Winter Wanderers is a snowmobile club.
Yep.
And we're good stewards, I'm on the Weare Winter Wanderers, and we're good stewards of the land, and we're very careful of how it's maintained, and we keep an eye on things, and even then, we have problems with property
Sure.
owners that blame us for things that are beyond our control, but that's fine, we do our best. But that is the club. So what, and I've been saying, what we need to find is there's so many people that love hiking and walking. Why couldn't they start some sort of a private club for that?
Exactly, that's exactly my point.
Yep, but I don't know how to initiate the beginnings of it. But that would be the perfect thing. And then you can get private funding from businesses. You know, I mean, we provide, Mark and I provide all kinds of services to the club to build bridges, and it's all volunteer. I've had my equipment on trails, you know, clearing things, and that's fine, because we're part of the club. This could be exactly the same way with the trails, and although Steve would like to see the whole town connected,
It might not
I don't
be
usually like to
possible.
walk more than an hour anyway. So if you were on a 600-acre piece of land with 3-4 miles of trails on it, that's more than enough for me. And you can see nature, right? And this is why we love our snowmobiling so much, is we can take those machines to places that nobody ever sees. And it causes no damage to the land because we're on top of ice and snow. The ATV clubs want to use those trails too, but that's very damaging, in my opinion. No matter how, I have an ATV, and I can see the damage it would make to the land. The snowmobiles don't, but neither would hiking. And so, if you get a group of volunteers, we have people in the club that are constantly out on the trails, brushing and making sure things are safe. It would be the same exact thing, but we just don't know how to get it started.
Well, here's the rub. Somebody has to do it.
Right.
Well, who's somebody? I'm thinking about it, but I'm not sure I have the wherewithal to, often volunteer groups, as you've seen, come down to the same 5 people factor. So you may have 100 people in your group and 5 people show up on your trail day. Like I said, I'm considering it being the somebody to maybe invite people to something to see if they're interested, but I just haven't decided whether or not to pull the trigger on that yet.
You know, I mean, thinking back, and I forget what the survey was for, it might have been for one of the master plans, but, you know, I was thinking, if we did get help from southern New Hampshire, I mean, you have to think about, you know, the project that we already did was very tight in scope. It was just on town lands. And And so the problem was that we're missing out is all the class 6, like that are up in the Fair and Pond area. I mean, those are all trails. People walk those all the time. There's nobody maintaining it. Those are the things that like, you know, if you have Southern New Hampshire look at for you to see what that pulls together. And then also, you know, you could have them sort of facilitate a survey where it's mailed out, and then even maybe try to facilitate a, like a forum type thing to, you know, be a catalyst.
Well, to be blunt, from a planning board perspective, we have no budget, so we can't hire Southern New Hampshire Planning to do anything.
Well, we could put a warrant article out, or we have
Right.
conservation money, but yeah.
Planning board has no budget. We have, you guys have a lot more money than we do, because we have none. I'll be honest. In Southern New Hampshire Planning, we'll charge you quite a bit of money, I'm sure. At least for my pocket, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I agree, because my wife goes down to Clough, she drives to Clough from my house to Clough, which is clear across town, to walking the trails down there.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous, because
My wife does that
I live
also.
almost in Deering, so that's a long drive. So I certainly agree that something like that is, I think, personally, I think need to start small to get, rather than going too big at one fell swoop.
Because we've walked trails in Hooksett, you're probably familiar with the one near Greens Marine, and there's several others. It's a closed system, but it's big. The trails are probably 1.5 miles, 2 miles long. And as far as walking goes, you're getting your exercise, you're in the woods, there's a lot of nice features to see. So you don't need to go forever and ever. And like you said, start small, and then maybe at some point they can be linked together slowly over time. You can't start really big, it's too overwhelming.
Right, you're not gonna get anything
You're
done.
not gonna get anywhere
Right.
either. People are gonna just burn out right away. But when we'd walked the Felch Farm there back in June, I think it was early June, we brought up about, when they go in to take the, timber out, that they put a wood road in, you know, skidder road in all the way to the one end of it. And then maybe, you know, if they're using that for a while, maybe somewhere in between, they make another loop, you know, and start it, because that's, you know, and once they have a skidder on the ground and they're dragging all the time, they really pretty much, unless you're gonna go in and stump, and I don't think we're gonna go in and stump anything. But I mean, you could, you know, you can put a couple miles in pretty quickly on an 80-acre piece. And, you know, if you do one, you know, every year, say if they're gonna work on Felch Farm here coming up, that's done, and you get a couple miles worth in. Then if you wanna do another small trail out around, you know, with a group of people, you know, but, you know,
It takes a group of people, because I can just, down by the ball field there, when they did that, we did a reroute on the snowmobile trail. And that required machine work and everything else after they were done. You know, the skidder roads and the slash and stuff took quite a bit of work, and that was, what, 1/8 of a mile?
Yeah.
So it's gonna take work to do it. It's gonna take somebody that has the wherewithal to head it up and then get the volunteers. Snowmobile Club, we run into the same problem, the same 5 guys doing the work.
yeah.
It seems to get, as time goes on, different people will come in. But usually if the club needs a group of people, we can rally out of the town, enough people to get the job done.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot, it's just getting volunteers, and it's hard, though. You know, you say, I'm gonna put something up, and you're gonna have 20 volunteers show up, but you never do. You never do.
Phone calls
You-
and,
You gotta beg people to come, and maybe if they've got enough interest in it, then they'll continue, but, you know.
it takes somebody though being with a vision and is willing to put the effort in to follow up with it. And it's a lot of work.
I know.
In getting the volunteers, because it's phone calls and Facebook, and just putting it out there isn't the key. That
No.
doesn't work.
No, I was VP of Londonderry Trailways for a while. It's a very much,
It's a lot
A
of
lot.
time. Probably, before you ever get to the trails, it's a whole lot of time
Exactly.
invested.
Yep.
exactly.
And a lot of it is public awareness, which we all are terrible at, advertising. At our club meetings, the Snowmobile Club, I've been saying it for 2 years. We need to take out an ad in one of the local papers or whatever, like like the northern clubs do, thanking the landowners for their generosity, because they feel left out most of the time. And we need to thank them for what they're doing. And you need to remind people that they are on private lands many times, and just be, we don't do any of that, and so we run into problems a lot. And it's a simple thing of just public awareness. Same thing with these trails on the town land. If we were to advertise the fact that we need a volunteer group to maintain trails, there's so many hikers and stuff that would come in and do this, I'm sure. But nobody knows. We talk about it here, but it doesn't leave here, you know? And
There was, prior to me being on the commission, there was a trails committee that dissolved. So the efforts have been being made for years here, and we haven't had, that cornerstone individual to really head the project. So that's, to me, that's our problem, that we don't have that volunteer to really take charge of this project.
it becomes a full-time job. So, we do our best in the snowmobile club even to do what we can. I'm the equipment director. Mark was the vice president. I don't know what you are now, but something.
I'm your helper.
The helper. But
I'm your helper.
we run out of time. I run a full-time business that we're very busy at. I can't donate the time I need to. Most people can't. We have 3 or 4 people in the club that are retired. That's the core group. And we can get some people now and then. I do what I can, but I get
No one's
frustrated.
getting younger.
No, I'm not getting younger, either, but I get frustrated. And if I would retire, I'd do a lot more, but
Not
you
there yet.
can't. So that's the thing. You need to find somebody that has more time on their hands than the average person. And in this day and age, that's hard.
Do you have any kind of trail system maps right now?
We have we had a plan that we paid for, and received. So, and there were some recommendations, the cost for projects and that kind of thing in there. Yeah, I'm not sure, we've got whatever they came across that was mapped, but that's about it. So that,
Well, what I'm kind of thinking, if there's some trails out there now, which I assume there are.
Yeah,
Barren Pond has
Barren
some.
Pond and.
I knew a fair point,
Poor
I've been there.
Farm, but I don't know how great Poor Farm now is. That may have grown in a lot, because I haven't been up in there now for probably 5 years, and the last time I was up there, it was getting pretty bushy.
It's probably disappeared now.
It's probably disappeared.
Some of the
I'll have to
stuff-
go up, maybe this.
But
will-
anywhere you have some kind of existing trail with a map on it,
Off
put
of
it,
Hemlock, there's a little conservation area there that's easy to get around the wetlands if you're tromping around.
Bedford down at Pulpit Rock
What
has a
about, what
big
about
trail system.
all
Yeah,
your
no.
trails that you have now, in town? You have a map of all that?
Yes.
And do you have, who owns private land that you're going across? What if we started with that and contacted the landowners, the private landowners, to ask if we could use it for foot traffic only during the summer months, or foot traffic only, period?
Some of these landowners are super, super sensitive.
Yeah,
We're almost on the verge of always losing our trails for one little misstep or one little so we tread carefully. We're losing trails all the time, and if we get to a certain point where we lose too many,
Yeah.
it'll be like most of the southern clubs with the subdivisions and stuff, you lose your trail system.
Yeah, but that's mostly communication with the landowners.
Yeah.
I mean, when, I got a huge trail going through my place. It starts down at Wildwood, goes up over the hill
Yep.
past my house, hooks into Toby Hill.
Yep.
When COVID hit, you wouldn't believe what happened to my property. You talk about ATVs, everywhere,
Everywhere.
yeah, they,
suddenly.
And that's the biggest gripe.
I have ATV and I drive through my woods,
Yeah.
but you're not really gonna see the trail that I make, cause it's me. But it was,
See, most of the people think that the trail systems are like the interstate, anybody can use them.
well, I have signs up, no wheeled vehicles, that Fish and Game give you. I have those signs up and I
There's always that
use,
one person that's
I use a
gonna
lot
mess
of
it up.
four-letter words, a couple people, and took pictures of the registration. What are you doing? I'm taking a picture of the registration. Why? Because if I see you again, it's gonna go to somebody else. But
Just,
yes, it is, property owners are sensitive, and I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Come on up here.
I was just gonna make
No,
a
you need to-
suggestion.
Come on up.
Oh,
You're the only one here. Have a seat.
all right.
Another 2 times at the microphone and you're gonna be a member of the Conservation Commission.
Bring the mic down to you. Yeah, you're the only one here.
So I was just gonna suggest, like, maybe a nice way of thanking all of the people with private lands would be to celebrate them once a year in like a gathering.
Maybe
We've
have a-
done that.
Tried that.
Nobody
Cookout.
shows up.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, like coming from the outside, I have a lot of great ideas, but they're probably already tried. But
try
I
a
was
lot of
just
things.
thinking, you know, that it would maybe make them feel good to be recognized and all that
But a
kind
lot of the
stuff.
reason why they don't show up is we don't do a good enough job with public awareness.
It's only $75 on tax.
Yeah.
They don't know.
It's only
Yeah.
$75.
It's hard.
But there's nobody that can, you know, I don't have the time to
Yeah.
do all that, so it just gets talked about at all our meetings, and we all have good intentions, and then when you leave the meeting, everything gets forgotten.
Yeah, and I think like, in reference to your trail ideas, you know, is there such thing as the Weare Conservation Club
Yeah,
kind of thing? Is there a
well,
club?
well, yes and no.
Not devoted to creating trails that I'm aware of.
No,
But is there a group of people interested in conservation?
They're right here.
No, I mean, I know, but this is a commission, like, you know, a club that.
Well, if there was a club, I'd like to know, because I'd like to join it.
I'm just thinking maybe there should be.
Well, that's what I just said to the
Yep.
gentleman there, sorry, I'm not,
Ray,
Ray.
Ray. What I said to Ray, somebody's gotta start a
I know,
club.
and I heard you loud and clear that, you know, having the time and the commitment and taking something like that on would be a lot.
yeah, and the wherewithal.
But there's
And going after
foundation,
grants and all that takes a lot of
but,
time.
but there's a foundation for it, because you've got a map, Steve, you just said, with the existing trails, and different proposals with dollar figures, and some of that may be outdated, but the existing trails are still there, so that's something that, if there are people who are complaining that there aren't trail systems, maybe they're just not aware of what's out there, and so that's maybe a good place to start for publicizing things. And then, and I think starting small and building out
Right.
is,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maintaining what you have right now.
yeah, exactly.
Is more important than making a new one, because you don't want to lose a trail. And that's what I was going, if you have a map, you could get it down to 11 by 17. Bedford down at Pulpit Rock, they have little plastic things with maps stuck in it and how to get a hold of people and volunteer your time, et cetera.
So we know who manages that over there? Do they have a club?
No, but it's part of the Conservation Commission. It's a subcommittee of the Conservation Commission.
So, you know, we just kind of bounced
I have the
around.
contact information someplace, because I just did a survey for them 2 years ago. But I do have it someplace.
So just wanted to hit on a couple of quick things, because, you know, one thing that's a little problematic, and we had the trail subcommittee, but, you know, so you're constrained by having to follow the RSAs, you know, that we follow in a public meeting, and that seemed to be kind of problematic. It's hard to hold a group together, so I mean, I really like what Danny Dean's saying about a private, you know, nonprofit doing that work.
And it becomes a partnership,
Yeah, right.
guided by conservation.
All right. Well, I mean, I think there's a lot more flexibility in that scenario,
Yeah, absolutely.
honestly. So that's kind of been one of my thoughts, and I feel like we are constrained, at least kind of in mission and possibly legally on, you know, where we make investments. I mean, it's not like a Conservation Commission's main state, you know, kind of, I guess, management statement to provide trails throughout a town, you know, so it's, but then we lose opportunity, because really, like, a lot of these class sixes are really good trails. And then there's some rules about even maintaining class sixes, I think, so if you don't turn them into a trail,
It's town money,
yeah,
yeah.
right. So there are some things to juggle there that a nonprofit would not have that issue. They would just, you know, in the case of maintaining a class six, they would be seeking permission from the Board of Selectmen essentially to
Right.
do it. So that, I think that was some of the challenges that we faced before, and then we took the approach of getting the Trails Management Plan. And that was, you know, it's a good plan. It's got really high cost. You know, and the theory there is, you know, you're hiring a company with a mini excavator with trail building expertise to go and blow trails in. You know, so it's pretty amazing. You know, I'm sure that's doubled since, in the last 5 years.
And that's where the volunteerism comes in. I've had my excavator on the trails, how much? You know, many, many, many hours. And we've rebuilt some of the bridge approaches. It's all, we do it for nothing. We don't charge the club anything to do it. It's a volunteer thing. And if I own the equipment and I want to volunteer it, I do, you know? And I'm sure a lot of people would. There's a lot of people like me and us, but they have to know about it and they have to be involved. And the way to get them involved is to get them out on the trails, and then they realize, you know, this is kind of a crappy trail. Maybe we should volunteer to fix it, which is kind of how the snowmobile club is. We have a crappy trail, we get a group together and we fix it. And if that was done with the oversight of the selectmen and the Conservation Commission, the only problem there is, and I'm not that familiar with all of this, I've only been doing this for a little while, legally,
You've been doing
is
this
if we
illegally?
talk to each other outside of public meeting, we have to be very, very careful.
Oh, sure.
And so, what if there was this committee out there and they ask us a question that we have to answer? Are we in a gray area? Do we talk about it? Do we wait for the next public meeting? That's what holds everybody back. It's like, it's too much risk, so we're not doing it.
Yeah, and one of the potential fixes for that is you have your forestry person come in and do a report, and you have the nonprofit come in and say, okay, what are you looking at? Here's what we're looking at, and do it in a public meeting, and then the nonprofit says, will be our project, and off, there you go.
Sure, yeah, you have your master plan, you come give progress updates.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that works.
We just need somebody to initiate it all.
Who is somebody?
That's right. That somebody is, yeah.
Don't look at me. Look at me, I don't know why you keep
Oh, this is what happens.
We're already at the table.
Brand new face.
Yes, this is what happens when you show.
That's how I became the equipment director. I didn't volunteer for that.
Didn't even go to the
Greg, can
meeting.
you get me a map that shows all the snowmobile trails
Yeah,
in Weare?
we have them.
And
We have
then,
it.
Yeah,
and then,
Yeah.
in each area, the private
saw somebody on
landowners,
that.
because I don't wanna be,
After I
you
asked
know,
you to.
I don't wanna start to look into anything and have
No.
somebody walking
Well,
on
Naomi,
somebody's
didn't we
toes.
try to, put our snowmobile map into the town map somehow? Did we ever get that done? We did.
It's not a public layer,
It's not?
we have a private layer.
That
If you search
map is available
snowmobile trails,
as an app,
and
costs you $5.
Does it come up, does your?
Well, the state
Snowmobile Association.
site will come up and it'll have our trails on it,
Right.
but it doesn't,
Naomi
So it would
said,
pay for them to use these.
yeah.
Have the first
our
place.
trail
You buy
system
that for $5.
is an overlay on the tax map.
We heard the whole.
I'm not
We
sure
did
about
that to find out who.
Bill happy now? No.
Yeah.
I'm not either, I can't
That's
figure it
something
out.
that, the club has, but Naomi has it,
The private landowners, Naomi.
yeah.
Naomi, is that something you can give me, get to me? The map, the snowmobile map,
On the tax map.
and then an overlay of who the private landowners are that you're traveling over, like down at the Woods Farm, once you leave that area, whose property are you on?
I mean, yeah, that's why we did it on the tax map, because we have to present a landowner list every year. And it was easy for us to do it that way. Just anytime the town updates their map, I mean, we paid almost $1,000 to have that layer put on. But it's a private layer, it's not a public layer.
So you can't give that out to anybody? Is what you're telling me?
I'm just saying that I don't have a plotter other than, I mean, to do the whole town on a 8.5 by 11 or it's not gonna do you much good.
Well, I don't want it on an 8.5 by 11, I mean, I want it on something I can actually read, 2 by
That means
3
we have to put a
or.
plotter in the town budget.
No, we
They
don't.
have one.
They have one.
Oh. Okay.
You want another one?
What?
You want another one?
Why are you giving it away?
Probably.
Does it
The state
work?
will just gonna be your money.
So you don't feel comfortable share?
I don't know how, I mean, I'd have to ask. I mean, I'm one person,
Yeah.
So just kind of focus on maybe coming to some sort of, I guess, way to move on with this. I mean, what would be next? I can certainly share, I know I must have a copy on my computer. It was Sinuosity that did the plan, I mean, we can obviously share that, with anyone that wants it. I don't think it's posted on the town website, I was just trying to thumb through my phone,
I
but.
think we did ask to have that posted on
Does
the
he
town
think it's
forest.
posted somewhere? I couldn't find it.
I know
yeah.
that we've asked for it to be posted,
But is it there?
that plan. I haven't looked if it's there.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the, maybe not part of the problem, that might have came out wrong. But we gotta let people know there is a trail. There are trails out there. My wife doesn't know about it. Like I said,
Well, that's proposed trails.
Yeah,
Those
there's
aren't
no-
actually
Okay.
trails.
No,
Yeah.
but, I mean, we have Poor Farm.
Yeah.
Supposedly there's trails up there. Like I said, I haven't been on them for a long time, but maybe this coming week I'll take a day and I'll walk up and do it. But, you know, I'm thinking Poor Farm, if you walk those trails and you come back, then you got Ball Chill Road, which is non-maintained and it's off, but you can walk that hill, you know, it's a half a mile across. It's not open to cars or anything. And then when you hit the top of Ball Hill, you're on Mountain School Road. Mountain School Road, if you want to walk a half a mile, you're in on the end of Fair and Pond Road. And then you can walk up and do Fair and Pond and come back. I mean, that's quite a little hike to do in a day.
The problem is, most people don't know that that's doable. Like, if you asked me to go walking on trails tomorrow, I wouldn't know where to go. Because, you know, there's no parking spots, there's no signs that say park here. So you feel that you're on private property
No.
somewhere, so you don't go.
Yeah.
You have to know.
Farren's does show up on.
Fair and Pond, I just was all up in there. I just walked it all here a
I
month
mean,
and more.
are the trails blazed, are they painted, are they signed, or any
They're all
way?
blazed.
On
Fair and
Fair.
Pond's all
That's
blazed.
Fair and
The
Pine
problem
is,
with
yes.
Farren's
yeah.
Pond is, since they logged there, instead of going up on the trail system, which is marked, people just go right up the logged road,
Yeah, yeah,
you know? So people aren't even going on the trail system anymore.
yeah. There was a few people in there not too long ago when I was up there, and they, actually up there drinking a lot throwing their bottles and,
Yeah.
no,
that's- you
police
can't-
aren't up there to watch them, so, you know, and I'm not gonna confront 3 or 4 guys.
And wasn't the Fair and Pond Trail system done by a Boy Scout looking for his Eagle Scout thing? What's
They
it
went
that he
back in and put some signs
They
in.
did some signage, but
Cleaned it up.
yeah, this,
It's
I
a
mean,
nice trail, I mean, even
Yeah, you
my
can-
fellow horse people come and
Yeah.
ride the
you can
trail
walk,
system.
yeah, you can walk through there, and you know, when I'm walking, if I see a branch down, I take it and chuck it, you know, to the side, so it's out of the way, but, you know. But you really, I think if Poor Farm is still decent, which I don't know, I haven't walked it, but I know Ball Chill is fine, you can walk that with no problem. And then you can just walk up the road a half, 3/4 of a mile, whatever it is, and go in on Poor Farm.
I don't think there's
On,
much left in there.
Farron.
I don't think there's much left in Poor Farm as far as, I mean, nothing's been maintained, we
Yeah, I don't
logged
know,
it.
I guess I'm gonna walk up there next week though, for the heck of it, and get a decent
I'm just thinking if we
morning.
get people to know the trail's already there, then you might end up finding a volunteer or 20 to help you out with more.
We'll see how
But
bad
first you
Poor
gotta get
Farm
peop-
is.
peop- first you-
'Cause
I
that's a
mean,
nice loop. That's
people even know these
probably
trails are out
4 or
there.
5 mile loop.
I mean, Fair and Pond, I think most people know about that one, but,
That's the one everyone.
yeah,
the one
everyone knows about that one.
the other ones.
It's really all about public awareness, which
But
we
for
don't
first,
have.
I think we gotta let people know there's some out there before we start doing a master plan and spending money and what else we're doing.
But isn't the Society for the Protection of Hampshire Forests, you have Mount Wallingford, and then you have the one off of,
Yeah, Mount Wallingford, right up here off,
And my wife got lost there last week.
Flanders Memorial.
there are trails through there. Because I walked that looking for snowmobile trail passage, and there are trails there, and they are marked. They do
They
have-
are?
well, where we were.
Oh.
We were on the east side of Mount Wallingford looking, and they had trail signs that are not nailed to the tree, they're staked. They don't want anything nailed to the tree.
So
Then
ju-
there's
just-
the other one over there off of, the road right here, it's up on the left.
Mount Wallingford.
No, well, that's the access is at the gate right up here, just before you hit, Thorndike Road.
That's Mount Wallingford.
That is, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, down the dip and left.
yeah, to the left, about half, yeah.
But so to speak to your, have public awareness of current trails, and Steve, if you can correct me when I'm wrong here. We don't have, besides Farron, that I'm aware of, any trails that we're maintaining and marking. It's more of, we're a land, we hold land. You're welcome out to go out there. and walk the lands, and that's what I do. I'm not following a blaze trail through the woods. You know, I'm following a game trail, I'm following an old logging road. So that's it. I don't know if that's currently how I enjoy the Weare
Yeah.
Woods.
And that's how we used to access off of Hemlock and end up up in Henniker somewhere. It's
and that's a-
going
that's a
around
great
that little
example.
wetland and out the game trail and some logging roads and, and then we wore our own path after a while.
So in the sense of maintain, that all, there's a price to that.
Yeah.
Blazing, maintaining, so we're not currently doing that, and I'd like to see some funds come in from different things besides, you know, our.
Sure.
that-
And that's what dread grants are for, and a
Exactly.
nonprofit that's working as a partner, in partnership with conservation could apply for those.
I thought you had a trail committee that did some of that.
We had
3
a
or 4
trail
years ago.
committee that came in and they drafted a plan to create trails on town land,
That was a contractor, not
or a contractor, sorry.
Contractor, yeah.
Didn't you have a trail subcommittee about 3 or 4 years ago?
That's what, we just mentioned that never really got going, like, as far as getting much on the
Oh,
ground.
nothing on the ground, it was all,
Yeah, and then just the struggle of being confined by the RSA's and the public meeting process. As a subcommittee of the conservation, it's not a great fit, I can tell you.
No, it's not.
You know, that's,
I understand.
so that's why the nonprofit will be great, and just the, we kind of what I was kind of hoping to discuss is just like, we're having a good discussion, how you might implement this, but it's kind of like, getting that catalyst going, even like years ago, we had that, it was that UNH thing that they had a bunch of different ideas they held it up John Stark a couple days, but that's where the Open Space Committee came from, was kind of that back in the day. But anyhow, some sort of a catalyst and, some sort of a getting attention and finding out what people in town are interested in, because there's a few people who've mentioned trails, but the's not really, there's
I
no
understand,
separate-
well,
Yeah,
what I'm thinking is, I don't think, it doesn't sound like anybody from there to here
yeah.
would have the time or energy to jump into something. Maybe over there, I stopped right here.
I saw that. And that's not inaccurate. It's just a question of,
So, my thought is how to get more people involved. I mean, Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission, yes, but they're gonna spend money to come up with a plan, but who's gonna do anything with the plan? You gotta get people
Yeah, and you
into this thing, and the people are gonna be into it, the people are already out there walking around.
really gotta get some
So
money too.
somehow you gotta get the people who are out there walking around to get interested in this.
We need to get the people first, like.
That's my theory.
People first, so, I mean, that would be, a public awareness.
Yep, something as simple as a little poster up at Country Three Corners or something, contact this, you need a contact person. But if you're interested in a trail system or whatnot, contact such and such. That'd be the way to get it going, but there has to be a contact person.
Do
Unfortunately.
you folks have any outreach to the town? Social medias, anything you do to let folks
Oh,
know?
Facebook, put it on Facebook.
Stick a flyer at the transfer station. Everybody sees it.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
They do.
You're right, could use the sign in front of the town hall.
exactly,
Yep,
I mean, that's
exactly. And
that's pretty visible right there, and
that's where that's where a meeting could happen. Hey, come to the town hall on this night.
Contact Danny Jean at,
Don't say that, this is being recorded and live streamed.
Oh, is that why,
don't contact her.
I didn't sign a release or anything.
that's why we don't say as much as we say.
Can I just add something? What's your name? I'm sorry.
Danny Jean,
Danny Jean?
yep.
When you were first, speaking about, the logging, and then creating the trails that people would be able to use to experience nature and the outdoors by using the logging trails, I think that sounds like a great marriage, and that really caught my attention.
And Sherry expanded on that
Yeah.
by saying, hey, they go in and they come out maybe one or two places, but if they
Yeah.
made a loop around or something while they
to
were.
loop around while they're in there. I mean, we discussed that
Yeah.
with with Jeremy that was here earlier,
About the loggers.
about having the logger do that for us. so we could get one main trail in, and then maybe a loop coming out another way maybe on the other side of the lot. If it's
So
an
it sounds
80
like
acre
that
lot, it could.
process has already started.
Yeah,
That's-
and then we
And then you
just-
can go in and do smaller loops off that, a different little jaunt. But that would give you your main
Yeah,
focus. That's what we thought. We talked in depth about it.
but it's pretty clear we gotta get volunteers first,
Yes,
or we're dead in the water, so to speak.
Yeah.
but someone's gotta take the reins and be the contact person to head it out.
You could call it something like from logging to, the word for walking. Like it's gotta have some sort of catchy thing.
I have a very weird sense of humor, so I'm not gonna say what just came into my head.
From logging to-
And I know, like, New Boston did the rail trail. They took the old railroad bed, which was, I don't know if it's a couple miles long maybe, but I'm thinking they had about $500,000, and that's what I was told.
Yeah, Goffstown, Manchester, everybody's done that.
Yeah.
Londonderry.
Grants for that.
They
Yeah.
got grants for a lot of it, but they still had to come up with all the help.
Yes,
Right.
and
And the building the bridges and
the dread
culverts
grants require a certain percentage of matching funds.
and, right.
So, there's $1 million school pathways project grant that was got in Londonderry, but then the town, there had to be a certain number of matching funds or pledged to that project. So, as we start, so volunteers come, they do their thing, but if we're looking to get grants money, then we're gonna be looking also at, looking for matching funds from the town.
Sometimes
So-
that grant money is matching hours instead of dollars.
Exactly, work
Right.
can be
Work,
matching
yeah,
hours,
yeah.
yeah, because we
Instead
did
of,
that
instead of
too.
20 grand, it's 5,000
Yeah.
hours.
Yep, when we built footbridges, it was work that was offsetting the money
Yeah.
from DRED for the materials. But again.
So we need somebody to step up, huh?
hands-
Well, we're live streaming now, the public is always welcome to watch these. If we wanna put up a sign, at town hall, they could contact planning board, conservation commission, if they're interested, we can handle an email coming in, hey, I'm interested in this, but I think that's where we're at.
So we've interrupted you a half a dozen times now, Steve, do you have more thoughts? I feel like,
No, I'm just kinda struggling with, how it really can happen and how it fits and the different properties. I mean, my vision, I guess, is, a little different, cause I think, the Conservation Commission is not well suited to deal with it. It's well suited to facilitate. But the nuts and bolts of trail management is,
Big job,
Big.
big job.
yeah.
Big commitment from a lot of people.
I mean, I'm not really opposed to throwing warrant articles out there and see what people are interested in. I mean, if people pay for athletic fields, all kinds of different things, ski areas, whatever. Different towns have different stuff, so if trails are something that folks are worthy, think that they want to invest in, then, it's something we can do.
It really comes down to a key person that can facilitate the entire process. Without that, it doesn't get done. We learned that in the club. Without that key person, we can talk about it all day long. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't. There needs to be that one person or two that take care of all the little details. And then they can find the volunteers and they can find funding and they can get businesses to contribute material or labor. But it takes those people. We're not suited for that. Between everything else we do, it's not really our department to be doing that. It's too much. So it has to be, like we talked about, an individual club, for lack of a better name, but there has to be at least one or two key people that are gonna keep it all together or it's gonna fall apart. Without that, it's not happening.
Or you can just pay for it.
Or you can pay for it, but then you need money to pay for it.
It's a lot of money to pay to make trails and maintain.
And then you gotta
Well, it's
maintain
a
them.
maintain.
You
As
get
I
a
said,
minute. If you
and
don't touch
maintain,
them for
that's
4 or 5
right,
years,
they're
you got a
gone.
mess.
Right.
No, there is no trail.
Yeah,
Right.
no, absolutely.
You got brush.
A good idea of using the logging trails to come in. Because they're already cut and
And they only come back every
If
20
the-
years though, you know, or
Yeah.
But you still gotta go in and maintain them, because if you don't, you're
If you
gonna
leave them alone
have,
for 3 years or nothing but.
you know,
It's every
20
30
years,
years,
you
you
walk
have to-
back in,
they're
you
gone.
can't walk in, you got trees
Some
that
of
are
it's, fall
this
apart
big
if we're
around
not
in
in
there. You're
So-
not gonna be walking.
Yeah, I mean, just so everybody understands too, I mean, you know, in forestry operation, the skidder trail is not necessarily, you know, it would require work after the fact to get it
Yes.
to a hiking trail, you know? And that, you know, either you're forcing that in the contract and you're lowering the amount of revenue that you're gonna get out of the contract because of the things you're trading off, or you pay for that later on, you know, get someone with a piece of equipment out there. But one way or the other, I mean, that's some extra work that needs to get done. So you can lay out the skidder trails to facilitate,
But then you gotta,
Right.
an end use.
But the loggers aren't going to make a nice trail for you there.
Well, they're doing better. Certain loggers do, and the new
Yeah.
equipment that they use, they don't
Hands
have
up
the
less.
4-foot skiddered ruts that they used to have.
No, but you still have 6, 8 inches.
Yeah. And you
All
got
the- all the
slash
time, and you got-
rocks. and-
slash
Right.
and rocks and.
And 2 years later, you got birch trees this big around everywhere, or else briars. And you're not gonna be walking through that stuff either. Unless it's deer season, but that's beside the point.
Okay.
Bears like the blackberries.
Yeah, they do.
Well, is there any way to move forward, or, I know we got a lot of other business to transact too, so it could be a late night, but, I don't know what thoughts are.
My first thought is we should talk about this some more tomorrow night.
I think we'll have time to tomorrow night.
We have a planning board meeting tomorrow night.
We got a late agenda.
Don't remember.
Are you in another commission in where? Another
Planning board.
planning board?
This is a joint meeting. And tomorrow, night, planning board meets every 2 weeks. Tomorrow night, and 2 weeks from tomorrow night, and 2 weeks from that, and 2 weeks from that, too. You're welcome to come in tomorrow night. We'll be here, same time.
Same place?
Well, I think we've got some stuff to think about.
I mean, I
This
agree
needs
with your
to be
vision, but I
done.
think your vision's gonna take a long time and effort, obviously. We need somebody to provide the effort.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yes, we need a master plan, but we need somebody to do.
I just think,
Coordinate it all.
there's no one else really, you know, I mean, you can pay someone like Meadow Send or someone with GIS to do that, you know, that's the part that we didn't touch on in the trails plan. We didn't consider any of the class 6 roads, because they weren't under our management. And there's a boatload of them up by, you know, up by Farron, that's, a lot of people go up there and walk that. That's the only kind of problem, you know.
Would you hire somebody like Meadow Center, or would you hire a landscaper to make trails?
No,
Oh, I think you
the
gotta
GIS work,
get
the
it-
mapping
GIS
work.
work.
Yeah, I mean, you'd either go to Southern New Hampshire or someone else who has that capability, like Meadow Sun, but, you know, it's kind of, that's the part of it we didn't look at. I mean, so, I'll try to dig out that, I don't know if I'm gonna have time tonight, I'm kinda tied up tomorrow, but, I don't know, do you have the trails plan handy?
I got it somewhere.
I mean, if somebody can find the trails plan and send it to Craig,
Yep, I can send that to you tomorrow.
Yeah, please.
Yep.
so you can look at it and see what I'm talking about. It's really nailed down just to our parcels, you know, so that's kind of the problem with it. But you think about, you're at Farron, you can get on those class 6 roads and go, you can be on
Right.
our parcels and then go, you know? So we're missing that opportunity.
If you can send me that map, I can plot it out in a 2 by 3 feet of piece of
Thank
paper.
you.
Well, 22 by 34, not quite 2
Yeah.
by 3.
Yeah, it'll give you some good
Print it
insight
out
if you get a
for
chance to
tomorrow
look at
night.
that.
Yeah.
It might also help to, get in touch with the surrounding towns to see if they have trail systems already kind of in place that we could connect with. Like I know when, I was working or, had a friend who was on the Conservation Commission in Hooksett, they were getting together with other towns so that the trail systems would actually go through from town to town. I mean, it's a much larger thing, but to see what the other efforts are with like Goffstown, Henniker.
Hooks is doing that with Manchester right now. They're teaming up again to do something with trails. I read in the paper on them.
So there's a story there.
Yep.
So, folks that have been around for a little while remember, at the time, I think it was PSNH, when they did the power line upgrade.
Yeah.
Gordon Russell was like hot about that, really hot about it. Because they went in, the road going down to Farron and they added a bunch of gravel and made it pretty nice from my perspective, but he was upset about development potential. And then he went over, I think, you know, he tried to get us to try to force that to get redesignated as a trail, which is some legal connotations, like, we all have the right to drive our over-the-road registered vehicles down to
Yep.
Class 6. Once you change that to a trail, it's gone.
Yes,
And so
I-
they got Deering to do that. They got Deering, so those roads back there connecting to Deering, and I don't know how far they go through
Well, they
Deering.
come out on private property, though. You come right out, you come right out in somebody's yard. I know, I mountain biked them all up through there.
Yeah, there was
We
some.
also have
there was
one
some-
that comes out into Francistown.
Yeah, I think.
Graham.
Yeah,
I
it
think
comes
you-
right out in somebody's yard at the top of the hill, though.
Yes, I know the trail, there's A, B, and C trail, at least a B and C trail
Yeah,
system,
but if
what you
you-
can do, what you can't do.
Yeah.
Exeter has a couple of trails like that they turn Class 6 roads into trails.
But if you're at Poor Farm, and if that, I don't, like I said, I don't know how good that trail is, but if you left Poor Farm and went down Poor Farm Road like you were going toward New Boston and went Saunders Hill, not down too far after you hit Saunders Hill and goes over the top, there's another trail system that New Boston put in right there.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, I have a horse, and I just try to ride as much as I can around there.
Yeah,
So, I mean, horseback riding, I mean, would be great. You know, foot traffic,
yeah,
horses.
yeah.
I didn't know about Poor Farm. I could look into that also.
Yeah.
Do you live around there?
Yeah, I do. I live right by Perkins Pond.
Oh, you do?
Mm.
Um,
Maybe if you give me your phone number or something, I can meet you up there and we'll walk at
yeah,
it.
that would be great.
See what, I mean, I don't know what's, like I said, it may be all brush.
Well,
Okay.
so,
So you can send that to me?
Yep, I got it down, yep.
Okay, you got my email address?
I got Craig, and then I'll go to the website and look it up.
Steve has it.
Okay.
Steve might have it memorized.
yeah, I got them right there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and
Okay.
close the joint meeting then?
Yeah, we'll close the joint meeting, we'll talk about this tomorrow.
Thanks for
We'll
coming.
talk about this
Thanks,
tomorrow.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Now we got weather supper.
I can't tomorrow night. I love to hear what happens.
Naomi, did Tucker leave?
Yeah, he had to. He couldn't stay and be somewhere else. So what? Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so it is 8:37, we're back into the, just the Conservation Commission meeting. And,
Should I go?
what's that?
Should I go, or?
Oh, no, it's a public
can
meeting.
listen.
No, we're just, so that was, this is normally a Conservation Commission meeting. But then we we're having a joint meeting with the planning board to talk about trails, and now we're just, so it's all open. The only time it's, you know, if we had a non-public, there's some real specific rules and only a few reasons you can really do that. So, we do it once in a while, but we're not doing that tonight. Let's see, do we have these plans, actually, do we have the minutes
Not
and,
many minutes, but you got plans.
oh, we don't have the minutes to go through?
And then you've got something that came from those end to you.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Is that, the Forestry Meadows place?
Meadows End, yeah.
Okay, 'cause, like right now my horse is at, Sugar Hill.
Yep.
And, we just got permission from someone who oversees the land there for us to take our horses out on some of that land.
Yeah, I think somehow that's loosely related. I think the management company might be broken off from that, but,
Yeah, I think his name is Russ,
yeah.
but with kind of restrictions, like we can't go after it rains and just
Right,
wants
make
to do
'em-
two of us.
Yeah. Make them out.
So how much land do they have in there?
I don't know,
There one of the biggest landowners in Hopkinton, Weare.
Yeah.
Huge.
right,
Most,
let's
a lot of the snowmobile trails are on their land, so, yeah.
Actually, you're the secretary. Okay, so we've got, subdivision from Sean and Carol Hickey.
Yeah, the first two have been around for a while. That's the new one that's on top there.
I'm gonna get going. It was really nice meeting you.
Thanks for coming.
Just looking for,
What's easier to flip this out that way or stand around it, or how do I
I
wanna deal
don't
with this?
know. There is no easy way.
There really is.
it's nice meeting you. See you later.
Is this the Hickey subdivision?
Yeah.
So
this is the
There's the one that, you doing?
Two.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that's may get withdrawn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a whole host of problems with that one.
Was-
Violations.
Oh, that's the one off Craney Hill?
Reservoir and Crane,
Okay, yeah.
There's
Probably
a-
don't want to spend a lot of
there's,
time on it.
wetlands. Yeah, I don't know that you wanna spend a lot of time on it.
I wouldn't.
And we won't.
So should we just pass on that one, or? Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right, so,
He's tabled it until he figures out what he wants to do.
So
okay.
should we keep it on the agenda?
I don't know where they're gonna go with it, he's on for, the 27th of October. But that's just, he's gotta figure out, there's a huge cost to repairing what happened. Out there.
The one with Tom Carr did the,
You know,
No, no,
oh,
no.
that's a different one, yeah.
Yeah.
That one's all
What do
done.
they call it?
I-
Cemetery,
Yeah.
right?
I think Mike Lambert might have done that one.
Okay.
Oh, so was that part of the problem that, which one did Mike,
I can't remember which one, I think it was that one you just bypassed.
yeah, cause then they got the whole problem, he's not around now.
He didn't stamp it, so then we had to start again. 'cause
Yeah. All right, this one is, Thomas Corrado?
Inison Place on Sugar Hill.
We were just there today. Planning board was just there. We just did a
You
site
go
walk
out back,
tonight.
Goes down to the flood control.
The house and 2 new lots. So this is the original. This is the original
You guys can
house
come around,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, we're better off coming around here.
Yeah.
So that's the original?
No, this is a new lot
That's a
that's
new-
gonna come in, and then there's another lot, doesn't even show on
Up in the back here, isn't
here.
it?
Up in here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is the old place, the old house. This is the one that- Another lot's not even showing here. Weird. This is something on another piece.
That shows all the wet area.
Yeah, they're not going out back, they're just
No.
gonna be the one either side of the old place.
So
Oh, yeah, that's showing you.
that's a new lot.
This is, yeah. and
This
it-
is the existing lot, and this is one lot here,
New lot.
and that was the other lot.
Yeah,
So so these lots go all the way back?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because there's a lot of wetland
Yeah.
here, and they're not gonna go back to do anything,
Yeah.
you know, because there's no,
So technically, they have their their well radius within the lot.
yeah,
They
yeah,
got their septic area
yeah.
figured out.
Mhm.
So as long as that was done by a certified person, there's no reason to
Okay.
look too hard at that.
No,
And
Well,
then-
that's not the,
It's a surveyor.
that's the survey, but I didn't see a
Yeah, I've been
wetlands
looking for wetlands.
Stamp, it says up here, I thought,
Joshua.
yeah, but it's not stamped.
So I thought it was 75 feet to the effluent disposal area from a wetland,
So do I.
isn't it? That's the state
Well,
line, right?
that's, yeah, it's 75 feet.
So that's not 75 there.
Yeah, we didn't.
Well, is this the actual wetland? Because maybe it is from there to there.
There,
They don't
yeah.
count the buffer.
Yeah,
No, I know, but I mean, if the buffer's 25, and that's the 50-foot building setback line, and that can't be 75.
That can't be 75. So there might be an issue there, I don't know for sure, but yeah, that's not really 75. Oh, unless,
This says this wetland setback's the 50-foot.
right,
Yeah.
so that's the 50, which one? This one?
That's the
The
50-foot
dark.
building
This
line.
one.
Yeah.
This is the 25-foot
Right,
buffer.
yep.
Okay.
That's the wetland, so that can't be 75.
Mhm,
can't
it's
be
not.
75. But that didn't show
But,
on
see,
our
that's a
map.
delineated wetland. If it doesn't have standing water in it, I think I think they're allowed to design it within, it has to be away from standing water.
Right,
Was that a Weare thing though, or was that a state?
That's a
There's al-
state thing.
There's a Weare, something on the Weare wetland.
There might be a tougher aware law.
Yeah, there might be.
I didn't see on the plans that
But I
online
didn't-
showed that there was a wetland stamp. It just says that this was here, but it's not stamped.
Yeah, they all need to be stamped.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
yeah, they had a new map tonight they were looking at,
yeah,
and it didn't show it didn't show the blocked out for the thing. So when was this?
Also, one,
it just says how he came about doing the work.
what stuff he did.
He just needs to stamp it,
Yeah.
to certify it.
Was it a wetland scientist, or there's someone else?
Yeah,
certified?
Joshua Bryan,
license number.
certified wetland scientist.
Yeah, so they need to stamp it. You got that, Mike? I don't know if
I can put it in the comment section there.
yeah, can we just, all right, yeah, you wanna drop that?
So here's something to consider. This is a 4,000 square foot area that they've delineated that a septic could go in.
Right,
It won't be anywhere near that size, so
no,
technically, when the septic designer designs this, he could put the leach bed over here.
right.
Which would put it 75
5
feet
feet
or
away.
more.
Yeah, we talked about that tonight, 75 feet,
So that'll happen, because that's a big area.
yeah.
So that's,
They were just throwing the boxes in the wrong place, I mean, the box just can't be there.
Right.
So, yeah,
yeah.
so on, what plan number is that? Page 102,
Sheet 1 of 2,
yeah,
plan date June 30th,
so
22.
that slot 177-1, looks like the 4K area's within the 75-foot wetland setback.
Yeah. So the septic designer will have to be aware of that setback and make sure he designs the leach bed there. Technically, he could dig a new test pit and put it here if he wanted to.
Well, they got plenty of room to
Yeah.
put it, I mean, they're just showing the wrong place, so
Yeah.
I think they could move that thing 10 feet and be good.
Yeah, and I don't think it was back that
Oh,
far.
no, they can't. They can't get into this, it has to go in here or there.
Yeah.
They could turn that, couldn't they?
The
Yeah, they
average,
could,
the
yeah.
average leach bed is only 600 square feet, and
Yeah.
this is a 4,000
Yeah.
square foot
Yeah.
area. So they got the room.
They got the room to do it.
Do they have to show 4,000, why do they do that?
He just did for the sake of doing it,
Oh,
yeah.
it seems like you
There's
see that all
plenty of
the
area
time.
for it.
Yeah.
They dug a test pit here and they assume that this is a suitable area
Yep.
and gives them a little bit of leeway for the design.
Okay. Go to the next page.
It's the back part, I think.
Yeah, that's the bad part of all that.
So it seems like they got everything on there that would concern us as far as the wetlands and the buffer.
Just need the stamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fairly cut and dry. There's enough acreage to do what they want to do.
How do they get, what's the, they need 250 feet of frontage,
You got it?
those 10 acre lots?
Yeah. 50-foot right-of-way for your road.
Oh, that's the road.
This is this, but they're gonna put a driveway in up here, so when the people exit, they're not gonna have the headlights in this house across the road.
How wide's that? I'm saying, this is the lot from here to here.
That end, yeah, there's plenty of room there.
No, I'm saying they've got 250 feet there?
No.
No, they have to have 50 feet for right-of-way on a 10-acre lot, right?
Oh, that's what I was asking, so that's a
Yeah.
10-acre lot? Oh, yeah, okay,
Mm.
yep, got it.
Yeah,
No, because it's a 5-acre lot, these ones probably have 250, right?
well,
Yeah.
this is the old house, this is the old house. This is,
Right, but they
this-
have to keep 250 feet, because it's
Yeah.
only a 5-acre lot.
Right, that's all been,
Yeah.
they've done that, that's why this is coming out narrow here, so he's got it.
Where is this? Is this the land that,
This is right
That
down
is
on
far.
Sugar Hill South, you know where,
oh, Sugar Hill South?
you know where Ilsley's Ice Cream is?
Yeah.
You go down over that hill,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
there's a housing development, but it's before you get to the road that goes into that housing development on the left.
So this lot, this
See,
is here.
Lindsay Lane right here.
Yep.
Okay.
So they're putting a driveway in.
They're
the
putting
lot
a
is
driveway
back
in
here.
here, yeah. The house isn't,
That's an existing house or
yeah,
something,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
they're
they
coming
put a
in
driveway in, and
fif-
then this is the lot back here.
51 foot wide,
So that gets them by
that gets them by, yeah,
Because they got a 10-acre lot.
Right,
there.
right.
But it's all non-usable, really.
yeah.
But it doesn't really, I mean, they got
Yeah.
enough to.
It's usable technically,
I mean, they could put,
a little driveway
Yeah.
in through, and there's a big area here, so they're fine.
yeah,
Yeah, and they gotta get a variance to do that.
Yeah.
Just cut through the buffer.
They're
Oh, so-
looking at putting
so
a
they're putting this driveway's gonna go in over on this side, so they don't bother this house. And they're
I mean,
gonna put, we
this-
talked about putting it in
This as
high.
well, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
well radius.
Yeah.
Septic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's in the setback as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah. And that's the well right there, yeah?
Yeah, well radius.
Chances are what they would probably do if, I don't know what the terrain looks like, but they'd probably build a house inside over here and it's 4,000, and then put the septic system more in the front. You know, they can be outside this box,
Right.
if they design the thing.
yeah,
Then a driveway can come in through here, obviously.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
the well radiuses, they don't want you to encroach onto someone else's land, because people used to play games with their wells.
yeah,
And prevent people from building next door because of the well radius. So now
Yeah,
the
yeah, they'd
rules
move the
it has to
well,
be inside
yeah.
your property. Septic can be right close to the property line, but your well has to be inside, or you have to sign a release.
Okay, so I think that's it, right? This one?
yeah, you just need the wetland stamp.
And I just put the note of appears 4K areas within 75-foot wetland buffer on the sheet 102, lot 177-1.
Yeah, wetland setback. It's a state wetland setback. It's not actual
Okay.
buffer. Just so they don't start thinking about the town buffer. Okay, cool. So we just hand that thing back to you, Naomi?
Yeah.
Good.
You might have to use the back of that other one for the next one, because I didn't print it.
Oh, okay. Use the back of this one?
Use the back of the one that you're gonna hand me back.
Okay. This is Pine Island Realty LLC for, it's on South Stark.
That one's 3 lots also.
So existing is 10 acres. That's the one. It's got a wetland stamp on it. They forgot to put the buffer on there on this one. Oh, it's first page. It's like they're in the shoreline zone too, so look at that label.
Where's that?
What's the shoreline for there, Daniels?
Yeah, it's down that end.
That side.
Yeah,
Old Town is there.
yeah,
On the same side as Old Town, I can't try to visualize where this is.
So go down past, go to Goffstown, go past School Road, this little bridge by the water.
Go over
Down a
that
little bit further, there's a little tiny white, yellow house.
Yeah.
on the
yellow
right-hand side.
cape there, yeah.
I think there's a white, there's a dirt driveway just before it that goes out to the back lot.
Yeah,
of the
that's
water.
in
Yeah.
the back there.
Yeah.
They've been excavating out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
What's the zoning here?
I think it's RA.
Yeah, residential.
No, regular residential.
It just says residential zone.
Yeah, here's the existing house that's there. And this is
Thought we had
gravel
to have
drive.
5-acre lots.
We do an RA. but
In
this is-
RA, residential you don't.
You don't.
So is anybody checking their soil calculations? Cause that was an issue.
They haven't even seen that, that just came in the other day.
I was gonna say, we haven't done a site walk at that.
I mean, we saw a failure on that didn't end up mattering, but on this. So the soil calculations determine the lot size in
Mhm.
residential. So hopefully the planning boards,
You wanna put that as a note?
I mean, they should be doing that, but yeah, I mean.
Okay.
Ground
There's a lot of
penetrating
sand and
radar
gravel
scan.
in that area though.
Is that ground penetrating radar scanned area?
Why
What are
would
you
they do
scanning
that?
for?
Cemetery.
Oh,
Oh.
There's a,
Oh,
there's a little cemetery right behind that white house.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
yeah,
You know, the
existing
trail that
cemetery.
went to it.
Yeah.
That's neat. Huh.
So we're missing the wetland buffer.
Well, turn
But
page.
that's not it there.
No, that's the wetland set, that's the building
That's the
setback.
setback.
That's the setback.
No stamp on that either?
Yep, that's it.
Wetland stamp?
Yep, right there.
Oh,
No, what's that, that's on it. Shoreline 250-foot setback. Is this for Daniels Lake here?
hmm.
50-foot wetland setback here.
Yes.
Yeah, just missing the 75 foot.
Is there a standard language for that? Cause really, so that's the 50-foot wetland, that's the building setback. Do we make them put something specific in there for like language or not?
Usually Craig picks apart and has the notes being consistent, but.
Yeah.
I don't think we haven't seen this as
So
far as I
probably
know,
three
Naomi.
You
lots
don't- you
here.
haven't-
No.
brand new.
So this is all
Yeah,
wet.
okay.
Right at the road.
Yes.
So how they getting in there?
Off 114.
No, right there though.
Currently, they have a road right beside this house, currently.
It's dirt, like a
There's
dirt road.
Drive that
Yeah.
comes right through here.
There's an existing driveway, is that what they use? Because doesn't this, the DOT have video following using driveways off of 114?
See right here?
Yeah, they submitted with the
That's the
application in
gravel
twenty
drive
seventeen.
that's there now, and that's the gravel where they've been digging out. They looked at that house back when it sold.
Oh, yeah.
What we looked at, and that land, we didn't wanna get involved in, because there was a ton of wetland on it.
Right.
Oh.
So where actually is Daniels Lake?
That part.
Well,
Over here.
right here.
Okay, yeah.
This would be over to
It's
the
not
corner
showing
by the
there.
bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
That's the little house.
yeah. No, that's the little house, that's the house that's before it.
Got the little blue one there?
They recited it, this one here.
I don't know.
So this is the neighbor's driveway though, right? Or
Yeah.
something. So,
Yeah, cause here's the property line, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
So that's not
so it's
there.
got nothing to do with that.
So that's the one that goes out back,
Existing driveway.
cause that's, Waite's house is on the corner, so that's how they access the houses that are back here, right along the lake. But that doesn't show this gravel driveway on those other,
No.
no, but the next page you were looking at didn't show it.
Well, this page is just showing something else.
It's 5 acres. 3 acres, 2.5 acres. You're gonna access it through that roadway?
Yeah, so they're okay with the buffer ordinance, cause it's pre-existing. Yeah, I mean, they just need to put the buffer on here, well, really, the 25-foot buffer.
Oh, if the roadway's here, aren't they right in the buffer, wetland buffer for a driveway?
Yeah, it's already there. So they're all set. As long as it's already there, you know, assuming that was there before the buffer ordinance.
One there.
It just went in.
They put that in to access it, yeah.
That
There
just
was
went in. I
nothing
saw
there.
them down there with an excavator here a little while ago.
Yeah, they put that in to access, to do the gravel work back here they've been doing. That had nothing there.
Yeah.
The only access was this house, this driveway.
So who does that go to, Tony, or to,
What's that?
to investigate if the buffer ordinance was violated?
I don't know, everybody keeps saying it's Tony, he knows nothing about a wetland. I don't know how you do that.
Well, planning board can look at it.
Yeah, the planning board usually goes on a site walk.
We usually do a site walk and see, we haven't even seen this yet.
So who, I mean, sorry, just going with theoretical, not even this. If somebody violates the wetland buffer. So code enforcement is the one that's,
I mean, he can go out, but he knows as much as I do about wetlands, so.
Okay, proposed driveway here.
The driveway permit that was submitted with the application is a 2017 application, so I'm sure that's not to be updated.
Oh, wow.
So they've already put this driveway in, but what's this showing here? Is it 25 foot?
no, it's a tree line,
Oh, it's a tree line?
yeah.
This is proposed driveway, it's not, and they put it in already.
It's in, yeah.
But you show that.
This is showing a 25-foot setback here.
That's to the property line.
It shows it here.
So this is the, this is,
50-foot setback here. It's not tree line, that's a 50-foot wetlands, no, that
No,
goes
no,
over
this
here.
You're on a
is the
different
here.
line, yeah, you're on a way different line then. That's typically shown for a tree line,
Yeah.
but unless it's something, I don't know, do they have a legend, existing tree line?
Yeah,
yeah,
So, they may or may not have. So I mean,
can't
someone
really do
needs to look,
anything.
you know, you could say just on the proposed new lot, TM 109, lot 21.2, if the gravel driveway was put in, just make sure that it's outside the 25-foot wetland buffer. But it looks like it is.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, they just, I think they're okay, if it really does fall in that. Yeah, I mean, basically, it's just the wetland buffer and just verify that. They were inconsistent with the plan stamping, they missed this one. Do you have to stamp every page, Jeremy? Shows wetlands? or-
Yeah, that shows wetlands issue.
Yeah, so they missed stamping sheet 3 of 7 with the wetland stamp. 4, 7's good. Missed 5 of 7. 6 or 7. And 7 or 7. I don't know if that matters or not. Planning board can figure that out.
Probably didn't feel they had to stamp those as the sightline plans. This is what they're looking at here. It just shows where it is in relationship to the lots, but this is what the plan is all about, the last
Yeah.
3 pages.
So what about that other one, right?
The other one,
That was 3, right? Was it page 3?
Yeah, this one.
that one there really should have one,
Yeah.
because it shows everything, you know, with all the delineations. If this is the only page you had out of the set, you'd wanna know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a formality, because they did stamp the other ones, it's the same lots.
Mm.
If you're looking at, is this right here, 50-foot wetland setback, this delineated line here, right?
Yeah.
And then it comes down, so right across the driveway,
Yeah, that's for
50
buildings.
foot though.
That's buildings.
okay?
That's your building setback. So there's 3 setbacks really involved.
Yeah.
So there's the wetland buffer,
Yeah,
which has to do with the amount of vegetation clearing and, you know, not stumping, basically. Then there's the building setback, which is 50 feet, and that's literally for buildings, not roads.
okay,
So that's this.
yeah,
And then there's the 75-foot
For the
septic
septic.
setback, which is a state law. I think the 50 is just the town.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so they showed that, they just didn't show the buffer.
Yeah.
So did you said you didn't have the minutes with you, or?
No,
Okay.
I meant to send you the TMS plan too, I just tried to, but it wouldn't send to you.
Okay, we'll take that up next time, I guess. I mean, TMS we already talked about, that's just something, send out a note to the.
They found the site plan from 2017, says May, 2019. And that corner is not even their property.
Who's it belong to, Naomi?
It's in the state right away. And the state sent Tony a letter saying they didn't have a problem with what he did.
But there was wetlands in that, right?
Yeah.
There's no wetlands. Tom Carr delineated all the wetlands. There is none. His stamp is on it.
Oh, there are none?
Nope.
All right, so that's kind of a non-issue then.
So this is, I'll show you my phone. I finally found it. So if you look at, sorry, it's only on my phone. So if you look at Merrill Road,
Yeah.
this is their delineation.
Mm-hmm.
There's wet here, and Tom was a scientist.
But isn't that wetland what's involved right there?
So this is where his sign is.
Oh, the sign's right there.
This is where his sign is. This is his property line. This is the state.
Oh, that's the area there that got ground
Right,
down.
and so the
Okay.
state wrote back to Tony and said he met with him, it wasn't done intentionally, but they didn't have an issue with it, it improved the site distance, so.
Okay, so the wetland's not there. Yeah, that's all we need to know. So yeah, we're done with it then.
Yeah, because the wetlands is over here, but that's the sign, and this is the state right away.
Okay, we'll just email the person that had a concern and let them
Okay.
know. If you can give me a copy of that, just so I
Yeah, I tried
can.
sending it, it wouldn't go, because it's 3 pages.
Is everybody okay with that, responding to
Yep.
the person that,
Sure.
I'll just say we chased it down and didn't end up being,
Took us a while to
jurisdictional.
find the plan, we couldn't find it.
yeah, that's great, good. Glad that actually went down that way instead of shooting a note off to DES and looking stupid. Cool, all right, awesome. Let's try to wrap up here, it's getting late. So, budget. We got,
I printed
Beth
it
was
out.
asking for warrant articles and the budget. Did you print that? Okay. So,
Does it really look like anything needs to be changed?
I don't think so. So I think we would just forward the, 2023 budget as emailed around. Essentially, use the same numbers from 22. Do we need a
Just
motion on that, or-
There were some
22 or 23?
prices difference,
2023 should be the same as 2022, is that what
Yeah.
you just said?
on
Yeah,
what we expensed.
No, I'm just saying
Yeah.
proposed.
proposed.
The proposed should be the same as
Same
2022.
2023, yeah.
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 Because we proposed, but the expense was more than what we had budgeted.
Well,
A couple of them. You see that from that?
it seems early this year.
455, and we had, and the approved budget was 363.
Oh, is that your membership to,
Yes,
Yeah,
we should change that to the 455 or
if it's
whatever
gonna
it is.
stay the same every year.
Yeah.
Good catch there, Mark.
Yeah. Okay.
what do you want membership 455?
Yeah, whatever it was here. 485 or 455?
455.
Jeez, I need my glasses. It's so fun, I mean, it's like,
I couldn't make it
I've
print any
got
bigger.
glasses, but I can't. I couldn't tell for sure.
Couldn't make it print any
Yeah,
bigger.
it's 55.
Yeah, we're just trying to put it together early.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just make that
We're
one
finishing
change.
up CIP next week.
Okay. I don't think we're gonna be ready for warrant article stuff until next meeting.
He's gonna be a standard.
Well, it's,
one.
yeah, it depends on how much is available in the forestry account, what's billed out. I mean, we can't really ask for more than we've got,
Right.
I don't think. So, all right, let's finish this one up first. So someone will make a motion that the budget, the 23 proposed budget will be, as, was this in one of the emails? So-
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds it.
For some reason on my phone, I'm seeing something else. Oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah, how we wanna word this? We need to change that one number, and then the total's gonna change. So how much do we just increase it by? It's 455, 450. Oh, so we gotta go. So the transcriber would be 720. Medicare's 10. FICA's 45. It's a pain, you gotta break that all out, huh? Training seminar, we never do anything with any training seminar. Do you wanna leave that there or get rid of it?
Just leave it at the moment, just in case.
Yeah,
50,
because didn't we send Andy's daughter somewhere for some training back a couple years ago?
yeah, that was out of the joint,
It would be a sponsorship, it wouldn't be training.
Oh,
yeah, it was out of
okay.
the Campy Fund, I think is where that came
Yeah.
from. Technology, 200. So the dues, do you think that won't, I mean, wouldn't that go up again this year too?
I-
You wanna push it to 5 or you wanna
Yeah, just have it covered.
500? Mowing, we pay that out of conservation. Office supplies, 50. Communications, 150, so. Let's see, so the only difference is, since it's 137 more.
1681,
What'd you come up with?
1681.
Did I mess something up? Because last year was 1589.
Yep, so it took out I took 1589 minus 363 and then added back 455.
You said 500, didn't you?
Yeah, 500.
500.
Yeah.
So it's
1720.
1731.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Do you just want to, does everybody, do we need to vote on that, or what are we doing there?
Make a motion to submit the budget as
Corrected?
corrected.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Alright. Can I just hand this to you, Naomi, the,
No, I got it.
you got it? Okay.
So, Steve, you want to look town email for a minute?
What's that?
Town email? That was on your list?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what happens is I can set up a group that, just like I do with the board members. I do the selectmen, and it goes to you. It's when you reply back to them that they see your email. So if you wanted to send me and ask me to send it to somebody, I can do that for you.
Oh, so we don't have the ability to have like full-blown,
Well, I have to pay per email address. Yeah, because I've got, so we've done a little bit different, and we've reached our limit because the fire and rescue, that's how they have an app for responding to fire. So I pay every one of their email, plus everyone's here, and the board members, so we pay by email, and I've reached my limit. So all I was saying is I can do a group one that nobody would see you. If I said, hey, email the board members for the selectmen, it's boardmembers@weare.nh.gov. I could do the Conservation Commission @weare.nh.gov, I pay for one email.
Right.
And then you would all get it, so when someone asks me how to get a hold of you, I just say, because then you all get it, and then nobody's getting more information than the other. It just is a lot safer, but if you took it all on yourself, which you shouldn't, as one individual reply to someone, you could say, forward it to me and say, could you send it to this person? Because I don't mind using my email address.
so the only thing that doesn't do is disentangle personal email from a freedom of
Nobody's
information.
gonna see your personal email if they use the Conservation Commission @weare.nh.gov.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying if you end up with some legal issue where the town gets, you have to provide all correspondence and that sort of
Well,
stuff.
if you don't respond back to anybody.
You don't respond at all, we don't.
It's always, see,
Okay.
we don't, it's one way.
Yep.
If you need me to respond to somebody,
Okay.
ask me to do it. You know what I mean? Don't use your own,
Okay,
because that does open a highway.
Right.
But the board doesn't either. I funnel it one way, so you all have it. If you needed something, reach out to me, because that keeps the traffic down and it keeps the right to know down. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Then
yeah.
then your
Yep.
email's not being asked to be going through for the right to know request.
right.
Because you shouldn't be doing business by email, and that's what people are watching for.
Yeah, I mean, it's the people that, we get questions, just simple stuff where you respond to them,
But
whatever,
If you said, hey, can you let this person know?
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
I could put myself in your group, and you could say, hey, could you reply back?
okay.
Even text me, Steve.
Yeah,
Hey, can you reply back?
so what is our
That
group,
keeps you guys' emails out of the loop.
so what is our, so we'd still use the,
I would set you up as Conservation Commission @weare., so I have one email address.
I think we should give it a try, I don't know what others.
It's a good way of doing business, and it keeps you right to know well.
Yeah,
And if it's a one-way communication, you all know how to find me, and I don't mind using my email address back and forth. Because you're already gonna get in the server anyway.
good, let's give it a shot if
Yeah.
everybody's
We
good.
can try it,
Yeah,
and just see if it's not working, then we can budget a few more email addresses, but.
okay. Cool.
Steven, I haven't reached out to Ernie, because I haven't had time yet.
Okay, and then we're gonna talk to were we gonna do that first? Cause I thought there was something that was changing with that, and Laura was gonna be involved with both of those. So Ernie's still in play?
I haven't had a chance to talk to Ernie. That's slowed down,
Okay,
yeah.
so just keep it on the agenda?
I think you find with the interest rate in the market, things are gonna slow down.
Yeah,
The market interest rates have gone up.
Yeah.
So before you take off from the, so you want Conservation Commission or Conservation Act? Conservation Commission, a long word.
Yeah, conservation,
Yeah.
I think is fine.
At where.nh. Okay.
good. Okay, we just had the,
In Barden, I just checked my emails, they're gonna actually go out and do the testing on Tuesday or Wednesday next week.
oh, good, that's awesome.
Okay.
He wanted Tuesday, but he wanted me to go, and I can't do Tuesday, so we've been back and forth about Wednesday. 'Cause I could
Great.
get Tony to go out.
All right, so we get movement there, that's awesome.
And then I'll add the county one to it and get on to, so we don't lose that one. The county Caggiano one,
Yeah,
Yep.
and ask for an update.
Oh,
I would think we would be filing for title. My title.
so yeah, I mean, so we're just gonna ask Laura.
Yeah, so Laura's she's been in and out too, but, I mean, we're not her only client either, so.
We're the most important one she's got,
yeah.
whether or not the
So
only
you
one.
think-
Everybody thinks that.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to.
I know where her office is, so,
Everybody wants to be number one.
what days ago.
Did she ever, did we have her look into this Tucker Cram thing about the recreational shooting stuff?
Yeah, so if you're, at your last meeting, I talked to him before he left.
Yep.
You guys directed him to selectmen.
Yep.
Laura asked me what he was looking at doing, and I said he was very big, because I had to go back and watch it. I said it was very open, and I said that really poses, raises a flag with liability if you've got people out hunting, somebody wants to target practice, you don't know who's walking right now with that. So she asked me to look at the deed, and I said he hasn't proposed a certain site.
All right,
So she suggested that he talk to the selectmen anyway, but you guys also told him that.
Yeah.
And I still think it's gotta be
Yeah.
no. Just
It's
not
a liability
it's not
thing.
Yeah.
liability.
Yep.
You know, you think about setting up something and then somebody could be walking around.
Yeah,
I mean, we had a place at the dump and they kind of shut that down for
Right.
safety reasons, that
Right.
we can't.
yeah,
You know, he could go join Goffstown Fishing Game and he's got all the outdoor target practice he wants.
yeah, and then I mentioned to him Deering,
Yeah, Deering does too.
so,
He could even
So we had a conversation,
contact
he
the
couldn't
private
stay,
chamber.
but he's gonna see about coming to Selectmen Monday, so. I
Okay.
think it'll probably- Laura's on that one, but she wanted a little more, and I just said to him, because he had some paperwork, and I said, send it to me, so we know what you're talking about.
yeah, I mean, I think we also talked to him about being more specific as far as the
He had
location.
some papers with him, I don't know what it was.
Okay,
Yeah, he had somewhere he had to be, he said he couldn't stay.
so let's leave that on the agenda.
Okay. The Tucker one?
Yeah, we're gonna leave, so Tucker will reoccur,
Yeah.
well, he may not come back, but,
but still the recreational shooting, we should,
Yeah.
because we can't talk about it or make a decision if it's
Right.
not on there. We wanna leave the boundary markers at Cortland and Duck Pond.
Yep. You wanna leave Barden, and you wanna leave the county Caggiano.
Yeah.
Everyone's on the bottom.
Yeah, leave Brookshire on there as well, because maybe Jeremy will get something back to us by then. All right,
Did he take care of, I didn't get a copy of what he gave you, did he take care of the other conversation with the line in the proposed harvest area, is that what you're setting up a walk for?
hang on, it's,
The Hardwick lot?
which one you on?
we're
No,
going,
I'm down
we're gonna
I'm
go
under
the,
Brookshire, it says update on townwide, because I didn't get a list of what he talked to you about.
Yeah, well, here, I can give you mine when we leave here.
And then, but the review of the proposed harvest on conservation area, is that to do with your site walk in December?
Yes,
yes,
Okay, because that's a Friday at 1 o'clock,
yeah,
yep,
Friday at 1 o'clock,
December 16th.
yeah,
because I'll have to post that for you guys.
yeah.
Implementation of Felch Forest Management, is that something, that was the FSA?
Yep.
You have the FSA that we scan and send back?
So the boundary maintenance update, that's the one we just remember we talked about the request for proposal for the surveyor?
Yep.
And then we punted on the second part of that was related to Cogliano, and
Yep.
Yeah,
so we need to get something
And
out
then
of
the
Laura.
mowing the field, he's gonna take care of and get back to me
yeah,
for an RFP,
yeah,
or get some quotes together for Eastman.
Yeah, for
mowing.
December's meeting.
Yeah,
yeah.
no, November's, right?
No,
December. He said he'd need
Said
time.
he'd need, no, he said December.
No, the
Yeah, he said
surveyor was
December.
December.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
walk,
survey
yes.
was
Oh, the
December.
mowing is
gonna Mowing.
be
Eastman and
November,
mowing was
okay.
Yeah, the mowing is November, because that's just 3 prices,
Sure, yeah.
because we don't think it's, I mean, yeah, it's not gonna go over $2,500. God, I hope it's not. Just, yeah, to mow, yeah.
Okay, he said the forestry agreement will be completed by year end. And then.
Hang on, so we'll get, this is gonna be, when you see this'll, Toby, yeah, it says complete for fall 2022,
Yep,
yeah.
I just was trying to catch up, cause I didn't,
There's a lot to fall,
I learn every day.
yeah, so, so we should keep like forestry update on the, one way or the other, just so we can talk about forestry.
Yep,
And then, so next agenda is gonna have the results of for the Eastman field mowing. The pollinator habitat, just to,
well, if you just do forestry update with
Okay.
Meadows and Timber, you can kind
Cover
of
it.
discuss whatever you guys got going.
okay, all
You
right,
don't
good.
have to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Okay, good, that's a relief.
Should you leave on the agenda to find out if this quiet title thing will happen?
Yeah, that's I wrote down the bottom, yeah.
What happens, no, maybe you don't know, nobody knows.
I-
What happens if you get your quiet title and that abutting landowner still disagrees and doesn't
Yeah, that's what,
recognize
No,
it?
you have to go through the court, you have to file in the court for quiet
So
title.
if
You
the,
give him the opportunity to agree, and we've already sent it to him. So then she has to apply to the court for a hearing
right,
for quiet title. And once the judge rules on it, that's the line.
it is. So if the another landowner disagrees, then
Well, we've tried to come to the table, and won't.
he doesn't wanna go.
Well, we didn't get that, my understanding is Andy sent him the letter, he never responded. We haven't followed up with him at all to make sure that the letter even got there. I don't know that we send it certified mail, so that's why we wanted the Board of Selectmen to send the letter and make sure that he got it.
Yeah. And Laura, I don't know whether we sent that yet, that's why I need to verify, because Monday
Yeah.
night we can meet.
Yeah,
If it hasn't, I gave her a lot on her plate, she gave me a lot back, so.
yeah. And then just ask her, I'll try to shoot you an email, but just ask her
Yeah.
how she wants to approach. Cause, we've got this detailed report on Poor Farm.
She has that.
Right, but then, then we bought the next property over that has, inherently, we think it has the same issues, and the plan alludes to that.
Okay.
And Jeremy was gonna forward some more documentation, so we'll forward that to her, but the question's gonna be, moving forward with quieting the title for that lot, does she want a licensed surveyor to go out and perambulate it? Cause we haven't done that yet.
Right, we haven't done that.
Right, and that's, we didn't wanna spend that, because Jeremy's saying he can find, it's easy to find what we believe is the correct boundary. He's not a licensed surveyor, he would just blaze it and,
Right.
so that's gonna be the question, do we need to have that perambulated by a
Send me
surveyor?
the email on what you exactly want.
Yeah, hopefully Jeremy sends that to me and I'll try to get that to you. So yeah, I think that's about it, we're running late, I know, so we'll try to.
And just all those, we gotta approve all those minutes
Well,
from,
we don't have
We don't
one.
have,
no, I'm for the next agenda.
You gotta catch up,
do we,
catch up.
we also need how does that work with the joint meeting where the selectmen are kind of the superior board? Do we even bother approving the minutes, or do they, yeah?
Just like this one. It's gonna be all run together.
Yeah, okay,
I'm not gonna send them a separate one to approve, because what if they don't like it?
okay,
Is it quiet title, quiet minute?
yeah. Okay,
What's the motion?
yeah,
That we adjourn?
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good deal, thanks.